There are moments in life that feels like dawn, soft, hesitant, shimmering, with the promise of everything we haven't yet understood. In the shadow of Young Girls in Flower, the second volume of Proust's monumental saga is one such dawn. It is the gentle, trembling hour in which a boy becomes aware that beauty is not a single moment, but a series of awakening. That youth is not a season, but a luminous uncertainty, and that love often travels ahead of understanding. Before the light fully arrives, we follow Marcel, not yet the writer he will become, not yet the narrator who can look back with authority, but a young boy standing in the half shadow of life, meeting love, desire, art, and the memory as if they are inexplicable miracles. And like all dawns, this volume teaches that illumination is sometimes soft, sometimes brutal, but always transformative. Marcel begins this volume as a boy on the brink of adolescence, curious, perceptive, often fragile, searching for meaning in people, places, and the fleeting sensations that pass through him like wind, through a window left open. He is sent to a seaside resort, Baalbek, a place where the salt in the air has the ability to pull hidden emotions to the surface. Before Baalbek, Marcel spends time with the Swans, where he is mesmerized by Gilbert, Swann's daughter, a fragment of innocence tied to a complicated adult love story he barely understands. His affection for Gilbert is tender but faintly melancholy, for he knows, even without naming it, that childhood infatuations often contains their own ending from the beginning, and so his heart begins its first training in letting go. But the true awakening, the one that shapes this entire volume, begins in Baalbek. Baalbek, a world of seas, mists, and brilliance, a world where time seems to stay rather than pass, a world where Marcel encounters a group of young girls, the little band walking as though they own the horizon. Their laughter is free, their steps careless, and their beauty unself-conscious. And among them is Albertine. Albertine, the future axis of the narrator's emotional life. But here, she is simply a girl with sun-warmed cheeks, wind-tangled hair, and a gaze that alternates between indifference and sudden curiosity. Marcel feels drawn to her in a way he cannot explain. It is not love, not yet. It is fascination, the kind that pulls understanding behind it like a shadow. He observes her, he imagines her, he constructs versions of her in his mind. Again, the lessons begins to rise. We do not fall in love with people. We fall in love with the meanings we attach to them. As Marcel spends more time in Baalbek, he meets not only the young girls but also the artists, the aristocrats, and the social figures who postulates Proust's world. Swann reappears older, more tired, marked by long war of his love. Elster, an artist, becomes Marcel's quiet mentor, teaching him that perception is an art and that the world rearranges itself based on how deeply one chooses to look. Elster's paintings reveal to Marcel that reality is not fixed. Lights shift, meanings shift, and memories shift. And so, Marcel's mind begins to change. He begins to understand that the world is not what it appears to be, that everything, including love, is refracted through the self. The summer deepens. The young girls move through the seaside like waves, sometimes distant, sometimes close, never quite belonging to him or to anyone. Marcel's desire stretches towards them like a hand unsure of what it wants to grasp. They remain symbols of youth, desire, and possibility, a beauty both accessible and unreachable. Albertine herself is half formed in this volume, sometimes affectionate, sometimes brusque, sometimes teasing, and sometimes absent. Marcel projects onto her what he wishes to see. Albertine resists, for she is her own person, and in this silent clash between ideal and reality, Proust begins to teach the reader the truth that echoes painfully into modern life. Love begins as imagination and collapses into reality, and in that collapse, we discover who we are. As the season ends, Marcel leaves Balbec with a heart more awake and a mind beginning to sharpen. The world feels bigger, more mysterious. The young girls remain in his memory not as single individuals, but as embodiments of youth's transience. He does not yet know that Albertine will become the central love of his life, the most painful and transformative relationship he will ever experience. For now, she is simply a girl in sunlight, walking away into the distance as the tide withdraws behind her. And so, the volume closes, not with an ending, but with a beginning disguised as a farewell. You can read this volume today, a century later, and still feel its truth moving through your own life. It mirrors the moment each of us has when we step from childhood into adolescence. We begin to see beauty without understanding it. We confuse attraction with destiny. We confuse imagination with love. We attach stories to people and then suffer when reality contradicts them. It speaks to the age of social media illusions, the way we project meanings onto strangers, curate versions of ourselves, chase experience because they promise an identity we do not yet have. Marcel's Balbec is our Instagram world, full of sunlit moments, filtered encounters, surfaced impressions masking inner complexity. We misunderstand people, fall for the idea of them, idealize them, and hurt when the illusion dissolves. Proust understood long before us that love often begins in misperception. We need to understand that desire begins in imagination, not reality. We often love the meaning we attach to someone, not who they are. That youth is fragile because we do not yet know ourselves, and that beauty is not an object but a perception, and perceptions shift. That art sharpens vision, a clear vision saves us from self-deception. That growing up is learning to separate emotion from projection. That love is not always a promise. Sometimes it is a mirror. And that memory preserves beauty long after reality has changed. This volume is of tides and tenderness, of half-formed love and fully formed longings, of youth walking towards the horizon and leaving us to understand the shadows they cast. As we step out of Balbec and follow Marcel into the next chapter of his life, we carry with us the truth that becomes clearer in each volume. Life is not made of events, but of perceptions, and that the greatest journeys are the ones we take inside ourselves. And that we never fall in love with people. We fall in love with the mirrors we place before them, fragile surfaces where our hopes, dreams, and ache for meaning shimmer like light on water. And when the real person steps forward, the mirror cracks, but even the crack teaches us who we are. And in this context, this one line is coming to my mind. I loved the dream I wove around you more than the truth you ever showed. Let that thought linger. Let it shadow you gently until we meet again.